So today I wanted to do a video showing you how to do this Excel Module 3 SAM and the project due October 21st. So I've already opened the instructions. I printed me out a copy. So like I said before in countless times, I take a sticky note, and as I do the instructions, I stick the sticky note on there so I know what step I'm on, so you don't miss steps. So you guys know very well, boy, you miss a step in here and it can be really hard on the grading of this. Okay, when I open up this file, excuse me, I'm still having after effects of COVID. And this is always just documentation, I want my name on it. This is the sheet I'm going to be working on. But the first thing I need to do is put a 2 on here. So I'm going to go File, Save As, go to Browse, go into my File 21, CS110 Homework. And I don't know why mine keeps putting copy of. If that happens to you, make sure you remove that. I'm going to go here and put a 2 there. And now save that. Okay, so the first step on this tells you the global company San Francisco annual projection has used to complete the worksheet. So it tells you to go here to this middle worksheet, middle line the contents of merge cell A1. So I click cell A1 and it wants me to center or middle align. So middle align is this one here. So that middle aligns the cell contents. Now H1, so we're going to cell H1 here, and it wants me to italicize the contents of that cell. And then cell I1, make sure I'm in the right one, use the now function. So the now function is kind of cool. You just type equals now, and then parentheses 9, parentheses 0. You don't have to put anything inside, arguments inside the function, but that'll give you today's date. So that'll put now in there, today's date in there for you. Be careful on the test. They'll probably have you go in a format with a different deal. So, you know, the format, you just pull this up and you would change the date style to whatever they want. This one doesn't want you to. Just says to put it in, so I'm not going to mess with it. Okay, apply the formatting in the merge cell D2. So I got to find cell D2, and I'm going to apply the formattings in this cell to A13. So I have to go to the format painter to copy the formatting from that cell. And then I find A13, which is right here, and I click it, and now A2 looks just like it. Now fill the range C4 to E8. So I got to find cell C4, and it wants me to, okay, first step 3, apply the formatting to merge D2 to A13, then fill the range C4 to C8 with only formatting from B4 to B8. Okay, so I want the formatting from B4 to B8. I can do this like copy, just apply the formatting. So, I'm going to go B4, B8. There's a couple different ways of doing this. So if I go B4 to B8, okay, so I want to make sure you get the right one. So I want this formatting, so what I want to copy off here. So if I go here to copy this, then when I go to apply it to cell C4 to E8, so make sure you get the right cells. And now when I paste this in, I want to paste special. So when I paste this in, I want to make sure I'm just doing the formatting. So I don't want the values, other paste options, I just want the formatting. So I'm only copy and pasting the formatting. I could use the formatting painter there too, probably apply that, but okay, so I've copied the formatting. In cell F4, this is step 4. In cell F4, insert a line sparkline based on the data range B4 to E4. So I go in here to insert sparkline. So I go up here to sparklines, and I got to figure out what kind of sparkline I want. So fill the range on basic content, change color sparkline blue to, and then add markers to sparklines. So it just says sparkline. So then I'm just going to click line. The data range here wants me to use B4 to E4. So I'm going to move this over. So it wants B4 so B4 to E4. The reason I apologize, okay, right across here. So it wants to go straight across them 4. I want to make sure that's right. So I've got the right E4 to B4. So okay. It gives me my spark line. Now it wants me to fill this downward and make sure I don't fill too far. So it says fill the range F5 to F8. So from F5 to F8. So I filled that spark line in. Now one thing I gotta be careful when I fill that in, see how that formatting changed? And it doesn't, I don't want to change the format, I don't believe. So what I'm gonna do, and that's whenever I'm in question, just come over here and look and see if his is all blue. So how his white blue didn't change the formatting. So I don't think I want to change the formatting there. So I'm gonna go back and redo that a different way because I'm afraid it's gonna take points off for that. So I'm gonna go undo. And when I go to fill this, I can bring this down and fill without formatting. So that way I filled it without formatting. Just hit this button after I filled it, went to autofill option, changed the footer. Now, change the color of the spark lines to dark blue. So I want all these spark lines, and I can go into design, and then I can go up here and find the styles. So place to change, I want sparkline color. So I go to chart sparkline color, fill the range as I base. So I change the color of the spark lines to dark blue text 2. And this is if I want to change, sparkline, not marker color, sparkline color. That's what I couldn't find, and I want dark blue text 2. So I go across till I find dark blue text 2. Now it wants me to add markers to the spark line. So I can add markers, and once the markers, then it just says add markers. And I want to show markers. So I just picked markers right there, show markers. Okay, so that should finish step 4. Step 5, copy the formula in G4. So I go this formula here, and I'm going to copy that. And when I copy this, then I'm going to paste it down into here. But when I paste it in the range, only the formula and number formatting. So once again, I need to go to the special paste options. So I can pull the paste, go to right click. And I want to make sure that I do paste only the formula and number formatting. So formula and number formatting. Formula, values and number, formula. I know it's right here. Formula and number formatting. So formulas and number formatting. Now, step 6. Use goal seek to set the average number of projects in cell H8. So I'm going to be on cell H8. And I want to use goal seek to set this value to 120 by changing the average number of manufactured components of the project. So what you always do is you pick the cell you want to do this goal seek on. I go up to conditional formatting, go to goal seek, is not underneath this. This is where I always forget. It's under data, and it's under what if analysis goal seek. When I bring this up, it always has a set. Well, you're going to set the value to 120, this case, and then change the average number of manufacturers for the project by H6. So I got to change H6. So it's going to adjust H6 to some number, so I get 120 in H8. So I got my 120 in H8, and I set that to 132. Okay. Once again, a lot of times you can go to the answer key to make sure that's right, but I can tell you right now, on the test, that'll be grayed out, so you can't just type the number in. So here it's not. It shows me 120, 132, so that's good that it had the right ones. Okay, 7. Merge and center the range I3 to I8. So I3. So I need to highlight them all. And merge and center I3 to I8. So I need to go to home, merge and center. So it's going to merge and center downward. Now I need to rotate the text. I need to go to alignment. I need to go over here to the rotate text and set this to negative 90 degrees. So make sure I've got a negative 90 degrees in the merge cell. And then change the width of the column. So up here I could drag and try to do a bunch of stuff, but the easiest way to change the format in columns, just click that column, come up here to format and go to column width, and then I can just type the 9.25. I could have tried to drag the little double-headed arrow till I got it right, but it's so much easier to do it that way. Now in cell B11, so make sure I'm ready. In this formula that uses the if error, so it's going to be equals if error, and then I put my shift 9, Now, I need to figure out the value they want for this. So this says function to divide the total sales for Q1 in cell B8 by the total sales in G8. So that's going to be my value, is dividing the total sales for B8 and then divide by G8. Okay. And then if this gives me an error on this, so if G8 happened to be 0 something, give me, so what if I want the error to be, and I'm going to type quotes, and then I want in, I'll learn to type in, need a capital I, incorrect. And check my spelling 3 or 4 times. So I close that quotes. So in case of error, use absolute cell reference on G8. So I need to come back over here, click on cell G8, and hit my F4 key. I could have typed a $sign from the G and so make sure that's, so use absolute reference, and then, okay, so once I put that in there, I entered that in. And now I need to fill this range from C11. So I'm going to fill across these 3. So I take the fill handle and I go across these 3. I get no errors, so I'm a little worried about that, but when I go over and look at the key, I see I have no errors, so hopefully that is correct. I have the same exact numbers as the key has. In cell B15, so come down here to cell B15. Enter formula uses the if function. So once again, you always just type the function and then the shift 9 key. Then it will show you here in bold, so what I need is a logical test for this. So in this, I can do a logical test. It's greater than, and go through this and put this all in. But I'm going to show you a little easier way. When you're in a cell, so let me get out of this, put this back to blank. If you're in a cell and you want to put in a test, what you can do is come over here and open up more functions. In this case, I want to use the if function and say OK. And I could do this by clicking on function keys. Then I have these boxes to put the logical test in. So in these boxes, it wants me to use the logical test whether the total sales B8 is greater. So I want to know if B8 is greater than. You want to make sure you get the right amount of zeros. So this looks like it has 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got to make sure the right amount. Get the deal. And then if it's true, so if this is true, I have to click on the true box. I want to multiply total sales Q1. So I take Q1 times 0.18. It says 0.18, but I don't have to worry about leaving 0. If it's false, then it wants to tell the subject Q1 by, so multiply Q1 by 2 to calculate the commission rate. If the condition is false, multiply total sales Q1 by 10%. So I type Q1 times 0.1, which is 10%, and say OK. So if B8 is greater than, now where's my B8? It's 9, so it's less than that. So I have an error in the formula. Did not display. Why did it not display a value there? Let me see when I fill this across. So it says to fill it across to here. You get no values. So at B8, Q1. So Q1 is my problem. I don't have a value in Q1. Where is my value? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I'm going to shrink out and see what's going on here. Why the heck? There was nothing clear with Q1, so I've got this wrong. Oh, quarter 1. So I need my formula. I put Q1, which is quarter 1, which is these stupid total values here. So I've got the wrong cells in here. So I got to go fix this function as cell B8. I thought it was Q1, but it's this cell B8 that they want. So I need to change this to B8. And change this value to B8. So it's saying quarter 1, not the first cell. Now I put that in. And now I can take this and fill it across. And hopefully, and then once again, the first thing I do, and I knew I was wrong because when I went in and looked at the key here, I looked at the numbers. So like this one, 186114, 186114, so I got the right value. So sorry about that error there. On to page 2, step 10. Fill the range C15 to E15. So I did that from C15 to E15 with the formula in cell B15 to calculate which the other. Now in cell F15, so I can find cell F15. So insert a column sparkline based on the data. So I go up here to insert, and I want the column sparkline. The data range I can select here, which is going to be B15 to E15. So I got to find cell B15 to E15. So B15 to E15, and check and make sure it's right with the location range. Cell 50 sparkling range, cell fill cell. Okay, so that's the spark line. Now it wants me to fill the cell F16 without the formatting based on the contents F15. So when I go in here and I fill this down, I make sure I open up the special, and I want to make sure that I fill the cell without formatting. So fill without formatting, check this box. Now it says display the high points and the low points in the spark line. So I have these two spark lines deal. I've got the design here, and I want it with the high points and low points. So I show the high points and low points. I'll uncheck these and show you what the changes were. So when I saw this, it's all blue. When I go high points and low points, it moves it to deal. So when I open up my instructions here, I see that I get the same exact colors here. So I feel good about that. Now, last 12. Create a clustered column chart based on the range A3 to E7. So first I select A3 down to E7. Make sure you don't get the totals in this. Okay, so create a clustered column chart. So when I go insert and I want into charts and I want it clustered, so I can go to recommended charts, usually easier to find these, and then I can go down to chart types for clustered column. So this is a clustered column chart type, first one in the choice. So I say OK. Now when I do that, it repositions chart so it's upper left corners in cell A18. So I'll be careful, I'm on the edge of this. And I want to move this so it's top deal when I move this over. So its upper left corner is in cell A18. So this upper left corner is in cell A18. It'd be right over here below net commission. Okay, and then move there. And now I make sure the lower right corner is in cell G9. So I got to go over. So I need to enlarge this. So I go from A18, and it wants to go to the bottom right corner G29. So I go to G29 right to there. So I just grab the corner to fill that across. Once again, I'm always going in and looking sure it looks just like theirs there. And I got net commission above. Okay, change chart layout, quick layout style. So I have this chart selected, and I want to change the chart layout. So I want chart layout. So under design, this is styles, and I want to change it to quick layout 9. When I go across here, these only have styles 1, 2, 3, 4, so I don't think I'm in the right spot. Let me make sure. Yeah, these are only, so I want quick layout 9. So I go in here. Yeah, I think design was in the right place. Let me read this again. So in lower right G9, change the chart layout to quick layout 9. Here it is, quick layouts. So I need to go over here to quick layout, and I need quick layout 9, which my guess will be the 9th one. So this is layout 9. Okay, so I changed that to quick layout 9. Enter projected sales as chart title. So I click on chart title here, type projected sales, and you notice it doesn't change this. It's changing right here, and I'm checking my spelling 2 or 3 times before I hit projected sales. Hit the check mark to put that in. So change that as chart title. Enter sales amount as the primary vertical. So vertical's up and down. So I click on the primary vertical and top sales amount. So I put that in as the primary vector. Okay, hit the check mark to put that in. And then it tells me to remove, and there's a couple ways of doing this. You can right click, remove this. I just clicked on it once and press delete. So I just make sure you had that one. And if you screwed that up, just undo. Like I said, there's a couple